They call him a prodigy, the one in Barcelona, the other in Munich. Two teenagers, two left feet, two worlds of pressure, dreams, and doubt. And yet there is this one moment when you stop listening to the headlines and instead focus on what the ball is telling you. The ball doesn't whisper, it shouts. And when it sticks to Lennart Karl's foot, it's no accident. It's intentional, precise, bold, direct. Today, I'll tell you why the boy from Framersbach is already ahead of the boy from La Masia in some areas, and why these very differences separate the noise from the hype. In moments like these, it's not the brand of your boots that matters, but the balance in your ankles, the calmness in your shoulders, the courage to take the first step. Lennart Karl takes it, and instead of dying in beauty, he powers through. Not big, not wide, but deep. A lower center of gravity, a solid stance, no show, just the goal, which in his mind opens a fraction earlier than for the others. That earlier is his greatest advantage. Lamine Yamal is magic in width. The outside of his foot, the cuts, the needle threading through a 5-cent coin, he accelerates, cuts inside, looks up, and suddenly there's a pass that only a very few even see. But in the center where bodies meet and every contact smells of decision, he sometimes still lacks the armor. This is no flaw. It's the ticking clock that young wingers rarely share with central attackers. In one-on-one situations, he shines. But when space tightens, when duels grind and tear, his brilliance sometimes becomes easier to fix. Lennart Karl, on the other hand, seems like a boxer in a crowd, turning his shoulder, absorbing contact, and still dancing. No step wasted, no glance too long. The crucial thing isn't whether you dribble past 5 opponents. What matters is whether you attack the first one properly. Karl processes the ball as if he's already had 3 touches in his mind, with only 1 at his foot. He receives it in a way that he doesn't need to touch it again. And when he moves, it's not pretty, it's hard. A small nudge along the line, a shrug of the shoulder, and he's past you. Speed for him isn't a sprint, it's a change of pace. Short, hard, merciless. Where defenders are still thinking, Lennart has already decided. And right there, Yamal sometimes becomes the artist, gently caressing the canvas while the game needs a spray paint stroke. There are scenes you never forget. A long ball, a chest trap, a step into the unknown, 2 defenders running into the shadow of their own fear, and then that flat left foot from 20 meters that doesn't ask any questions. That's Karl. He doesn't need the most beautiful top corner to make history. He needs the courage to take the shot before the gap closes. Lamine, he can show you in a second why people love football. An outside of the foot, a turn, a thread through 5 legs. But when you double him, when you close the angle, when you steal his line, his game demands 1 more second. And that second is not given to him by the Bundesliga. Not by the Champions League either. Lennart doesn't even wait for it. Don't get me wrong. We're not talking about who will be bigger. We're talking about what's happening right now when the lights turn on. In Munich, a coach doesn't call up his 17-year-old to earn applause. He calls him to turn games around. And Karl steps up as if he's never done anything else. He enters the field like a playmaker who sets the tempo, but he plays it like a winger who wants to strike. A hybrid, not a position changer. Between the lines, he finds the phrases that others miss. A disguised pass that misdirects the defender. A 1-2 that frees you from tight spaces, and when the shot is open, he doesn't ask for the crowd. Yamal lives off the space he creates for himself. Wide on the flank, the first cut inside, the second outside, a look into the depth. He paints, but even paintings need a frame. In Spain's possession-based world, he has it. When the rhythm is right, when the passing density is high, when the formations support him, his left foot becomes a scalpel. But in games where timing breaks down, when the opponent doubles, pushes, tugs, when the counterattack holds the knife, he sometimes seems like a genius waiting for electricity. Lennart, on the other hand, is a battery. He brings his own juice, feeds it into the game, and increases the voltage himself. And then there's this point that few people talk about, physical contact, not in the sense of fouls, but in the sense of decisions. Who holds the line when shoulder meets shoulder? Who stands their ground when a challenge comes in? Karl's deep posture, knees soft, hips low, doesn't make him invulnerable, but incredibly stable. This isn't a muscle competition. This is biomechanics. You see it in the way he doesn't stagger after a shove, but flows. He doesn't steal the ball from you. He waits until you give it to him because you think he's already gone. Want numbers? They're there, but numbers don't tell the truth here. The truth is in the way a 17-year-old breathes in a professional environment. Yamal breathes like a young artist who knows a stadium is his studio. He wants to show. Karl breathes as if nothing matters. And that's exactly why, all of a sudden, everything matters. That calmness is no pose. It's the result of 1,000 repetitions. First touch, shoulder, glance, decision. And if you give him a shot, he takes it. Not because it's on the board, but because he knows the keeper has already moved to the left. Tactically, the difference is almost clearer. Yamal on the right wing, as an anchor along the touchline, loves the story that always begins the same. Wide reception, cut inside, open two options, shot or through ball. When this story dictates the game, it burns. When not, he searches. Karl, on the other hand, writes different chapters depending on what the game demands. A number 10 in the space between the lines who once opens a window for you and the next time just touches the wall so you can go through the door. On the right side, where he hints at going to the byline with his strong left, but actually wants the short through pass. On the left, when the opponent is deep, cutting inside diagonally to force the defense to follow. He doesn't need to be in his zone to make an impact. His game isn't about location, it's about state. And now we talk about the scissor that cuts every talent. Hype and pressure. Lamine Yamal is the wallpaper of the new football generation. Every click, every meme, every comparison graphic with the greatest. That's both poison and medicine. It pushes, but it weighs you down. He stands in a light where one mistake shines twice as bright. Lennart Karl plays in the shadow of a big machine that has learned how to handle stars. He's allowed to stumble as long as he gets back up. His name will only be loud when he does something undeniable. And that freedom is gold, especially for someone whose game thrives on moments where you don't think. That doesn't mean Karl is finished. He'll have to learn when not to demand the ball. He'll have to learn how to lead when the game isn't following him. And he'll have to learn that the spaces in the center are tighter in April than in September. Yamal, meanwhile, will continue to grow. Not just in weight, but in presence. He'll learn to love the tight spaces, not just the wide ones. He'll learn to accept the duel instead of avoiding it. And then, they will meet on equal terms, not just in talent, but in weight. Until then, it's all about the now. And in the now, Lennart Karl is ahead in 3 areas. The way he survives physical contact without losing speed, the consistency with which he carries the ball forward and chooses the moment of the pass before the defense has time to organize, and his willingness to take the shot when the space is tight and the time even tighter. These are advantages, not judgments. Advantages that turn games, not define careers. But games are the stuff careers are made of. If you want to know who will be bigger in the end, you're asking the wrong question. Ask instead, who is ready to walk the ugly paths again tomorrow? The paths where you fall and no one claps because it's not shiny. Right now, Lennart Karl is ready to walk exactly those paths. And that's why his game, as young as it is, already feels more mature in the tight spaces that matter in big games. On my channel, you'll experience the football of today and the stories that write the future. If duels like this fascinate you, if you learn to love the fine differences that decide games, then stick around, subscribe, and don't miss any of these legendary stories. It's going to be emotional, it's going to be controversial, it's going to be football. Just the way we feel it.